Joe, the final 14 seconds there, the execution down the stretch. First of all, with Drew's foul up 2 on Trae Young, was that an intentional foul? What was supposed to happen there?
No, I don't think it was intentional foul. I just didn't think, we executed our best down the stretch. And, that's a lesson. We got to get better at our late game execution, whether it's and again, when you're in a game like this, it's so easy to just look at those last segments. Yeah, we had a chance to win it, and we didn't execute it. That's a fact. But we also had a 15-point quarter in the second quarter because it was a little bit of our spacing, our execution, and we missed shots. And so the low-hanging fruit is to focus on that last few plays, which, are important. You have to execute those, and we didn't. But there's still plenty of plays throughout that we could get better at, that in a close game like that are we have to learn from. And, the second quarter is another one of those things.
Yeah, but when we're looking at, for this team potential in the playoffs, like those late game situations are going to be incredibly important for you. And you had it set up where you had called the timeout, you had the 2-for-1, everything was kind of lining up perfectly, and then some really bad decisions. I guess those are decisions that this team has made well in the past. Yeah. What is going into them not making those decisions well this season?
Yeah, 100%. Those are decisions that we've made well at times this season. And today, the last couple games, we just haven't. And I think that's part of the journey of another season, is continuing to hammer those details home, relearn those processes, execute those. That's just a part of it. So the failures are just as part of much of the successes. We know exactly why we lost the game, and, we got to learn from it.
Joe, you say relearning some of those habits, stuff like that. What goes into that? Is that reps and practice? Is that like learning from a situation like this? Like relearning the habits and getting back to doing those things that you just were telling John that you need to do better and you did well in the past? Like what goes into sort of relearning those?
Reps, film, reps in practice, reps in the game. Just continuing to hammer home those details that are of the utmost importance.
And then Atlanta had 60 points in the paint in this one. Was that an intentional choice to sort of take away the three-point shot a little bit more and give up some of those shots, or was that something you guys think you should have been better at?
That's a team that does a great job of executing in different ways. I thought our defense was really, really good to have 2 25-point quarters and to put ourselves in position to win the game. I thought we executed the game plan throughout most of the game. It was one of the best games. We defended Bogdanovich, and we kept Trae Young in check for some of that. There's different ways that you have to defend these guys, and I thought throughout the game, for the most part, we did that.
Joe, how much do you fear that a demoralizing loss like this will have? That's right, demoralizing. I'm sorry. It's not
actually, I like the word fear better. Okay. There is no fear.
No fear.
I'm actually more excited at this juncture of the season than I was at the beginning. So.
Why is that, Joe?
Because, as I said, this is part of it. It's the fun part. And, again, we talk about what we've been able to accomplish as a team in the past. And if we're going to be on a journey together for however long that is, 2 years, whatever the case may be, like this is what you sign up for. And, and you saw this is the most fun part that you have to have. And as long as we're in it, that's how we're going to attack it. So I didn't mean to cut off your question, but there's zero fear whatsoever. If anything, there's excitement. And this is the journey. So, sign me up for this.
When Holiday gets the ball, would you rather him score, wait to get fouled, or pass? Like there's 3 options. He took the third.
Yeah. I mean, it's just that's a regardless of the unless it goes well, you're always going to second guess no matter what it is. If he goes, there was a play actually last year at Memphis where when he first got here, we were looking at our late game execution, and he went in to go try and score in that situation and ended up losing it. And I think that put us in position there. And so he made the best decision possible that he thought at the time, and we just didn't execute it. So it's one of those where if it doesn't go well, it's always going to be, it should have done this. And at the end of the day, he had the intentions to put us in position to win, and we just didn't execute it.
You guys got a long flight coming up. I mean, now you're going back out west. What's that flight?
Your body language is, you look demoralized.
No, I'm not demoralized.
Oh, okay. I was going to say.
I mean, I can't be perky, and you guys just really blew a game like this.
Yeah, we sure did. Yeah, we blew that one. That was bad.
I mean, but how do you kind of get the guys' spirits up? You guys play a day and a half.
I mean, you have, again, like this, you get the spirits up by having honest communication, but at the same time, like, you know, we got to play another game. We don't have time to. I mean, I guess we have time. We have a long flight, but we just don't have the time to worry about it. Like, you know, we'll learn from it. There's an accountability thing. There's communication in there. But like I said, like, I don't like. I guess my question when I'm always in situations like this is like, what do you expect? Like, do you expect that when you do something as a team, do you just expect it to just go well for you all the time? Like, I always ask myself that in situations like this. Is like I use some explicitives before that, but I'm like, what do you expect? Like, did you expect we were just going to have another 65 win season and we were just never going to like make mistakes? Or like, if you're going to bring back, if you have the same team and a group of guys that are doing something together, that we're going to show our ass from time to time? Like, what, and not you personally, but like, what do we expect? Like, what do you expect? And that's why it's a part of the journey there. And so we just don't have time to worry about that. We need to fix it. We have to fix the details, and we will, and we'll do that. But you know, what keeps me in kind of what I'm explaining to you is I trust the character and the mindset and the preparation of our team. And over the course of a long stretch, whether that's till All-Star break, till season, till playoffs, till next year, I don't know, but there's just the utmost trust in how they carry themselves. So, you know, there's not a group of people that I wouldn't rather go through something difficult together with. So, again, sign me up. Doesn't mean I'm happy. Like, yeah, but, you know, this is the thought process about how we're going to go about it, you know?
Final three questions, Bobby, Jay, and then John. Joe, there were some similar lapses late in that New Orleans game. You guys ended up winning that game. What is the communication like, you know, about some of the lapses in a game like that coming out of it as you try to address some of those? And, you know, I know you pointed to some other moments in this game, but, you know, the late game mistakes seem to kind of repeat themselves in a game like this.
Yeah. What's your question?
What's the communication like, you know, coming out of that New Orleans game about some of the late game lapses that you guys had there?
Yeah, I mean, we watched it and we go through what our philosophy is, what our preparation is. This is what we have to do, and we drill it as much as we can, and, you know, you put yourself in position to execute those.
And when is that line? I know you want to remain like optimistic a lot of the time.
I'm not optimistic.
Between, you know, having that positive outlook for the season, but also kind of keeping the expectation high for the guys when you are playing like this over a 15, 16 game stretch.
Oh, I mean, one, I'm not really that optimistic of a person. I work at it. The second piece is just the expectation is always going to be there. Just because, you know, you lose this game, like, it's always going to be. The expectation comes from the film sessions, the pressure, the things that we put on ourselves to make sure that we execute it. And so by no means are we running from the expectation of, like, you know, we're here to win, we have to win, and that's the way that it is. So by no means running from that at all. At the same time, we don't have time to, if we dwell on this, then it could impact us there. So you just have to continue to move forward. Again, I always go back to, you know, what were the expectation from the standpoint of, like, do we think it's always going to go the way we think? And I care more about how we respond by the way we prepare, by the way we communicate together as a team, and by the way we play. So that's the most important thing. But by no means, like, I can't stress that enough. Like, there's an expectation to win. We're not doing it. It's not good enough. We have to be better. So don't let that, you know, think we're running from that.
When Jason and Jaylen were kind of going at it with some of the Hawks guys, you seemed to really enjoy that. You got in the middle, you were smiling, clapping. What did you like about that in that moment?
Again, it's just competitive nature. It's a fight. You know, I think that stuff's important, and you need to show a level of spirit, and we did that. And so, you know, that was great. You know, you got to feed off that, and it's a representation of the Celtics and the mindset that we're trying to have. And so I thought it was great.
Were you hoping in that moment that it would kind of snap you guys back to life, like kind of?
We were in life. We just didn't execute. I mean, we were there. We were there. We just didn't execute down the stretch. I mean, there was no. It's not like I thought this was one of our better, like, spirited, you know, mentally tough games that we played from a standpoint. We were there. We just didn't do what we needed to do to win until the end. You know what I mean? So I wasn't hoping that it did that. I was just excited to have some conflict and controversy, and you know, I think that builds us together.
Joe, you talk about that second quarter and expectations. The expectation in the second quarter is maybe, like, we know that lulls are going to happen in the game, but it seemed like when they had the 2 3-on-1s that were mishandled, that kind of dragged things down and that impacted the defense. What did you see in that? And
you have to execute. So the two things that Again, the low-hanging fruit is the late game, but the two things that I hold in just as much importance to where we have to be better are what you're talking about, and it's 85-75, and they call a timeout, and then from that standpoint, it ends up being, what was it? They went on a 10-2 run maybe or something. Like those two things are just as debilitating to a game as your late game execution. And so that 15-point quarter and that run, those three things have to be held in the same regard of where we have to be better, And so I do think those things, when you have to try to win a game 2, 3, 4 times, I think that wears on you, yeah.
And so the expectation is that you fight through that the guys don't start jogging up the floor when you have transition opportunities, that they're actually sprinting up the floor. Wins and losses aside, whatever the number is going to be the number. But I think the expectation is in those moments that you are going to try to execute. And it seemed like those guys kind of like let up, and that's part of what's been happening recently.
Well, from a transition standpoint, it was our highest transition rate of the season.
Sure, but in that stretch in the second quarter,
yeah. But throughout the game, we did that. We just have to execute better on those. I mean, like I said, those things. A team calls a timeout, you're up 10. It can't be a 10-2 run after that. You can't have a 15-point quarter, and then you have to execute down the stretch. So like it's that simple. Thanks, guys.